And every time I thought we were done with the opening running sequence, someone would be like, okay, so for next week, which color Gatorade is your favorite? Be like, oh my God, is there more running?
Thought that was you. I'm Helena Eagan, I work at Lumen.
Yeah, no, I know who you are.
What he knows of Helena is terrifying. I think that he, finds her and her family to be threatening, and what they've done to him and his family is horrifying. I think face to face with Helena, they have a strange chemistry that I don't think either of them probably expected, but they start talking and they're oddly locked in with each other in a weird way. And then once he kind of snaps out of this weird sort of spell that he's under talking to this person, he has to get the hell out of there. Not only is the fact that he talked to her and saw her a huge piece of information, but he feels like maybe this person is closing in.
I think everything about both sides of this same person are surprising to the other. And the more that they learn about each other, both through like literal fact, but also kind of this shared subconscious that's bleeding through, I think they have a lot to learn from each other.
As an audience, I think it's interesting because we as an audience know what those two people have, the interaction they've had over the last few days, which has been quite intimate.
Yeah.
So, there's always that question of what permeates the severance barrier.
Yeah.
What you said to me last night, it was cruel. Helly was never cruel.
Well, the dream informs that he's sort of maybe been, set up. It clarifies something in his brain that he suspects, and it sort of cements like, I know what's going on. I think it helps, not in a literal way, but it's a piece of the puzzle. And so then when he comes back and he looks at her, he pushes it a little further, to say, let's see this person reveal themselves, who they really are. And I think he's kind of speaking for the group then, and he's also speaking for Helly in some ways too, that this is an outsider and we're all at, risk here. And that's what kind of pushes him, to go that far.
The exterior Helena is much more entitled. And much colder, in a weird way, is more committed to the Lumen philosophy, especially this new Lumen philosophy. You realize like you're just an employee, you're just a low-level employee, no matter what level you're at. She is not beyond manipulating, deceiving, and lying to you.
It's a very delicate internal experience. We talked a lot about the experience of as actors being on a team together, experiencing that, the differences, and yeah, all I can say is there's different music. They sound like different music in my head, and that blend is also a different genre.
There are different versions of you in every relationship, and I think in some ways it's kind of playing with that idea of, who you are 10 years into a relationship might not be who you were when you first met, and maybe you're kind of longing for that or excited by just a different flavor that you get to see in the person you've been with for so long.
To see us outside of Lumen, to see, he comes to my house and he sits with my husband and we have dinner, and it's all a little bit tense. I haven't seen it, but I suspect that it's one of those fraught situations. It was fun to shoot it, but I think that in terms of the story, there is a very big elephant in the room. It's sort of like bringing your boyfriend home to meet your husband. There's a lot that could go wrong.
But before you go, we would like to see your bellies.
Everything about Gwendoline is my favorite thing about Gwendoline. She is the best. Brienne of Tarth is one of my favorite characters ever on TV or movies. But then getting to work with her, she's delightful and so good.
The departments always distrust each other. And so I feel like anytime you find a new department, there's going to be an element of fear. And Gwendoline can certainly play imposing, as we've seen her do in the past. But what I love so much about her as an actor is the heart that she brings. And once you get to know somebody on the severed floor, you usually find that they're not quite as threatening as they seem. And that's certainly the case with Lorne, who's her character.
You know, we have Britt and Gwendoline and I have a scene, like a serious acting scene over at Gwendoline's desk. And the entire time we're shooting that, goats are trying to eat our shoelaces and our pants. The entire time. And there's no stopping them or shooing them. They just come back and they try to eat your clothes.
I remember there was one like wide shot that was like all of you there and the desk, and like at one point just like a goat like came out from under the desk and just went around and started nibbling at you. And it was we just kept rolling.
With that intense like wonder of Mark running around the halls, I was wondering how many times you guys had to film it, and then also just what it was like filming such a complex and windy scene like that.
Yeah, it was actually filmed in a bunch of different parts. I think there's about 10 different parts to it, and each part had usually a different piece of equipment to get it done for whatever piece we needed. But it was actually shot also over the course of probably like 5 or 6 months when we would have different sections of the set that were ready. I know it all looks like hallways and everybody's just like, well, it's just hallways. But making it was a really fun puzzle that all of our department heads collaborated on. And it was one of those things that took a very long time to actually finish. And when we got to the end of it, we were like, we completed this shot. I think we even had like a wrap party for the shot or something.
I remember, like Ben said, it took like 5 or 6 months to get through it. And every time I thought we were done with the opening running sequence, someone would be like, okay, so for next week, which color Gatorade is your favorite? Be like, oh my God, is there more running? It's like, there's another part. And I was exhausted, but it really was super fun. I would just need Gatorade and bananas off camera.
And also the bolt arm that is this like robotic arm that does a lot of those shots is very, dangerous too, because it's just on it's on a program that just does the same thing. And so Adam would have to interact with this thing in a very specific way. Yeah. That always was a little bit scary whenever we shot it.
Yeah.
Mark, there'll be no honeymoon ending for you.